They never raise their voice. They walk into a room and something shifts. Conversation slower, posture straighten, attention gravitates toward them like a quiet magnetic pull. Nobody voted for them, nobody announced them, and yet, without saying a single word, they've already taken the room. You've seen this person, you might have wondered what they have that you don't. By the end of this, you will know exactly what it is, and why it has nothing to do with status, looks, or lack. There's a moment most people have experienced but rarely talk about. You walk into a meeting, a party, or a conversation and you feel invisible. Not because you are unimportant, but because something in how you carry yourself signals to everyone around you that you're still waiting for permission to take up space. That feeling isn't random. It's the result of a psychological dynamic that plays out between human beings every single day, entirely beneath the level of conscious thought. Respect isn't given, it's process. Your nervous system reads other people before your brain does. Within milliseconds of encountering someone, you've already formed an impression, not based on what they say, but on the invisible architecture of how they move, how they breathe, how comfortable they seem inside their own skin. And here's what makes this so disorienting. Most people are trying to earn respect from the outside in, when the mechanism actually runs in the opposite direction. The emotion underneath all of this is an ambition. It's something quieter and far more painful. It's the fear of not being enough. The technical problem is, how do I command more presence? But the real one is deeper. What if people look through me because I'm not worth looking at? That's the question nobody says out loud. That's the current running underneath every room you've ever walked into unsure of yourself. And it's precisely that fear of invisibility, of being passed over, that this conversation is going to dismantle piece by piece. So what exactly separates the person who commands a room from the one who disappears in it? The answer begins with something researchers call self-referential consistency. The degree to which your internal state matches your external behavior. People who impose presence without speaking aren't performing. They've stopped managing how they appear and started living from the inside out. The room doesn't respond to their confidence. It responds to their lack of contradiction. Think about what internal contradiction looks like in a body. Tight shoulders, eyes that drift when they should hold steady. A laugh that arrives half a second too early, too eager to smooth things over. Small compressions and adjustments, tiny negotiations with the space around you. All of it invisible to the conscious eye, and yet the nervous systems of everyone in that room pick it up instantly. Human beings are extraordinarily sensitive detectors of incongruence. We evolved to read it because incongruence used to mean danger. That instinct hasn't left us. Now, consider what the opposite looks like. Not dominance, not performance, just stillness. A person who occupies exactly as much space as they occupy, no apologize, no excess, their eye contact doesn't demand attention. It simply offers presence. They pause before speaking not because they are unsure, but because they are not afraid of silence. That pause, that small pocket of quiet that most people rush to fill out of discomfort, is one of the most powerful social signals a human being can send. It says, I don't need this moment to go faster. I'm already here. But there's something most people get completely wrong about this. They assume that imposing presence is about dominance, about being the loudest, the most assertive, the most visible. So they try to be more energetic, more charismatic, more forceful, and it fails because what the room is actually reading isn't volume, it's weight. Psychological weight, the sense that this person has arrived somewhere inside themselves that most people are still looking for. Here's where it gets more complex and more important. Psychological weight isn't built in rooms, it's built in the moments when nobody is watching. Every time you keep a promise you made to yourself, your internal architecture gets a little more solid. Every time you act in alignment with what you actually believe, rather than what the room seems to want, you reduce the gap between who you are and who you appear to be. Presence is the residue of integrity, not moral performance, actual private integrity. the kind you practice alone. This is the part that makes most people uncomfortable because it removes the shortcut. You can't hack presence with better posture and stronger eye contact alone. Though those things matter. What you're actually building or are failing to build is self-trust. And people read self-trust the way animals read the environment. Not analytically, viscerally. They feel it before they see it. There's a specific pattern psychologists have observed in people who consistently command respect without chasing it. They carry what's been described as a low need for approval, not indifference to others, but a fundamental uncoupling of their sense of self from the reaction of the room. This isn't coldness, it's the opposite. People with this quality are often deeply engaged, genuinely warm, but their warmth comes from abundance, not from need. And the difference between those two is something every person in that room can feel, even if they couldn't explain why. That distinction of warmth from abundance versus warmth from need is worth sitting with because it reframes everything. When you enter a room hoping to be liked, hoping to be seen, hoping to be enough, you are asking the room to complete you. And rooms don't complete people, rooms reflect them. If you walk in full, people feel that fullness. If you walk in looking to be filled, people feel that too. And they step back from it. Not out of cruelty, but out of instinct. So what does this actually take to shift this? It begins with a single radical reorientation. Stop evaluating yourself through other people's eyes and start evaluating yourself through your own behavior. Ask not how did they see me, but did I act in a way I respect? That shift from external validation to internal accountability is the root of everything. It's slow, it's unsexy, it doesn't come with a visible result for a long time. But every person you've ever met who walks into a room and quietly owns it has made that shift, consciously or not. The people who command presence without speaking have found something that most people spend their entire lives searching for in the wrong places. They've stopped auditioning. The room doesn't make them nervous because they are not trying to win it. They already know who they are when the room is empty. And that knowledge, unshakable, private, earned, is what the room feels when they walk in. That's what presence is. Not a performance, not a technique, a consequence. The consequence of having lived repeatedly and quietly in alignment with yourself. The loop open at the beginning of this what do they have that you don't? Closes here. It isn't something they were born with. It isn't a status or power or the right circumstances. It's the accumulated result of thousands of small private moments where they chose themselves. And so can you.